let's put some theory behind what we just practiced, because it's going to be what we're going to practice in the future. And I would totally like for you to understand conceptually what we're doing, because I think it can be helpful. So this is particularly important for me right now because I just had surgery on my knee and I have a lot of sensations and thoughts about it and emotions about it that are, probably a lot skewing towards not the most pleasant and hopeful, but doing this type of work is actually particularly helpful. So happy to be teaching it right now more than ever because I need it for myself. What I want to talk about is the theory behind why we are sensing and this idea of sensing or interacting with, oh, hi, sensing or interacting with anything is more than just what you're interacting with. There's also a quality of that interaction, and that what you're interacting with and how you're interacting with it affects the next moment. And why interacting with sensations, and a little bit about what are sensations, why interacting with sensations in a certain way that's more open affects the next moment in a way that is helpful and healing, or helpful for our purposes of healing. Now, we can do a little experiment here, similar to what you did in the last video, which is to just take your left hand and place it in your right hand and look at it. And look at it with curiosity. It's like, what more details do you see in your hand? And sense your breathing too. And then look at your hand with compassion. Just sense the weight of your hand in the other hand. What's happening? So maybe this had a different effect for you when you sensed it in that way. And the idea behind this work is that sensing yourself with compassion has an effect, and doing it more often is something that conditions you to do it more naturally. It becomes more available to you. It's not something you have to do all the time. And actually, I don't think it's the most appropriate thing to do all the time. I'll explain why. But just to have access to it. And this is closely related to the states of the autonomic nervous system, in my opinion, the parasympathetic and the sympathetic state, where when you have a perception of feeling safe, your body can go into the rest, digest, and I'm going to add in heal and learn. So, as an example of learning, right now when I'm walking around with my knee like this, my body's a lot more tense than it normally is because I feel less safe. And when I sit down, I don't automatically just start to feel safe again all the time. But when I bring my attention to, so you can do this with me now too. You can ask your body where it wants some attention right now. Just pick a spot and just bring your attention there and bring compassionate attention there. So as I do this, I immediately start to feel the muscles in my leg relax and I sense movement. Now, this subtle movement is the reaction of sensing in that way. So in your experience, in your human experience, how you perceive something affects that thing because all you have is your experience with it. And we are practicing experiencing, interacting with sensation in your body in a way that is compassionate as a tool to be closer to that thing and to listen to it. And this is this idea of the quality of attention was introduced to me through the primary somatic method that I practice, that I'm teaching you, which is called Physio-mentale Entwicklung. It's German for physio-mental development. And in that education, I learned about mental factors from Buddhist psychology, and it is one of the keystones of this method. It is using the quality of attention and using what are considered healing qualities of attention. Because when you can be present with something, you can get more information about it and there can be more development. Now, I mentioned that I don't think compassion or healing qualities of attention are, and I'll link here some more information about how the Buddhist psychologists classify these things. And just putting it specifically into our context here, think of a situation where, let's say from in my situation, I am walking and my body is going to go right now, like the muscles around my knee joint, so my hamstrings and my quadriceps and some of my calf muscles that come up here. When I'm walking around, these muscles aren't interested in being like, oh, let's explore some new stuff here. They're like, no, dude, we know what works, we know what keeps you safe right now, so we're going to tense up. Now I can calibrate this probably by doing some different training, and this is changing every day. But the moment I come to sit down, I don't need to have that tension going on. That's just wasteful. And active muscle tissue consumes more energy. It consumes more adenosine triphosphate, maybe you've heard ATP, than any other tissue in the body. So, and this energy is energy that you can be using for thinking, digestion, other muscular function. Uh, anything that happens in your body is using ATP. So having your muscles relax, which you can do when you enter into that state of learning, like if you lie down on your back and start to sense how your body starts to change and relax. Now that this is where it comes into this method, which is the somatic dialogue. This is where we can say this is a dialogue happening, because you perceiving in this quality, you perceiving in this helpful quality, and the list of helpful qualities are compassion, loving kindness, trust, openness, enthusiasm. Perceiving in this way is kind of like asking the body a question, an open question. You don't have an expectation. And then the subtle change in movement and breathing and muscle tone, that is the answer. And that answer is the body expressing itself, reorganizing itself in a way that is conducive to healing, literally healing this at the cellular level and learning ways to organize itself that are more elegant and efficient and more appropriate for the situation. So this is the primary thing that we're working on here. This is some theory behind it. And if you want to learn more about it, there's some other resources here to do that. Thanks for learning. I look forward to practicing more with you.